Key to the diversification program of the current administration in Nigeria, and indeed tied to the Sustainable Development Goals, is a rejig of the starter pack in Nigeria. When we talk about starter packs, we're talking about those who begin. But corporately, they call it the small and medium enterprises in Nigeria. And recently, in one of their campaigns globally, they talked about big money for small businesses. That is the focus of the interview segment on Insight today. And my guest is the Acting Director General of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, Smedan, Mr. Monday Ewans. Thanks for joining me on Insight.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy to be with you this morning.
When people are supposed to be your focal group, heard that word, big money for small businesses, it was like one of those rhetorics by government agencies. How feasible or how practicable is this concept?
We have to start from the basics. Now, micro, small, and medium enterprises are key to development efforts of all governments, whether in developed countries or developing countries. They are key for job creation, they are key for wealth creation, they are key for poverty alleviation, they are key to food security. So they're important across the globe. Now, if you look at what we did, the national survey we did with the National Bureau of Statistics in 2013, we discovered there are about 37 million of them in Nigeria. That's 37 million micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Registered?
Yeah, registered. Not registered actually, but from our survey, that's what we got. You know, and then about 36.9 million of them are micro enterprises. Micro enterprises are those defined as those that employ less than 10 persons and have a asset base of less than 10 million. Now, if you look at micro, small, and medium enterprises, an average entrepreneur will tell you that my major challenge is access to finance. Access to finance. Access to finance. But from our own experience, when you have money, you don't have the skills, and you don't have off-takers by way of markets, you have not actually achieved what you want to achieve. But that does not mean that finance is not key. And of course, talking about finance, getting to your question, the International Council for Small Business, some time ago, made a declaration on the importance of designating a day to celebrate MSMEs all over the world. So based on that declaration, the United Nations General Assembly took it up and said, yes, this declaration is good, so let's get a day in the whole year to celebrate MSMEs because they are key to whatever we are doing. So they selected 27th June of every year to celebrate MSMEs. So 27th of June of every year has been designated internationally as a day for small and medium enterprises, micro, small, and medium enterprises. Now, this year team, it started in 2017 with the team Big Impact. In 2018, it was Youth Dimension. But for 2019, the theme for this year's celebration is big money for small business. Financing.
That's what caught my attention.
Yes, financing SDGs. And they are saying, why did they choose this kind of theme? The essence of choosing this kind of theme is to draw global attention to the importance of MSMEs, to ensure that both the public and private sector pool funds together and invest in this important sector, because that's the way to go. You need to support them by way of skills, by way of assessing markets, by way of other inputs, especially finance. Because whenever you do everything you need to do for them, enabling the environment and so on and so forth, if they don't have finance, they might not be able to take off effectively or even improve what they are doing. So that is why, in the wisdom of the International Council on Small Business and United Nations General Assembly, they said, if we put money into small businesses, most of the challenges will be sorted out. And that is why they came up with that team that we need to support them with finance, with big money, not small money.
Now, back home in Nigeria,
yes,
how feasible?
Now,
why I say so is finance.
Yes.
Big finance.
Yes.
How available is this finance?
Now, I must tell you the truth. Finance is key for small businesses. So that's why even in Nigeria we're saying, from experience, talk to any average entrepreneur. They will tell you, give me money, I can do the rest. Now, money is key. From what is happening around government circles, they recognize that there's importance, that there's need to have money for small businesses. If you look at what the central bank is doing, right from the 220 billion MSME Development Fund to intervention funds, AXMEs, Creative Arts Fund, and so on and so forth. These are ways of trying to make sure that money is made available for small businesses in these various sectors to move them forward. Of course, for Smedan as an agency, we recognize the fact that finance is key for small businesses. And then, but unfortunately, the law establishing Smedan, that is the Smedan Act 2003 as amended, does not give the agency the power to give money to anybody. What we do as an agency, as part of our law, is to facilitate access to finance. How do we do that? There are a lot of funding windows, the banks, the development finance institutions, the microfinance banks, and so on and so forth. What we do is to support small businesses with skills, entrepreneurial skills, support them with BDS, make sure that they develop bankable business plans. Then once they have that, we can now send them to these banking, these financing windows to enable them get the money. But unfortunately for Smedan, we do not have serious impact on the process, whether they get money or they don't get money. So once we put them to the banks, then they now go through their normal lending process and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, most of them do not have access to affordable finance. Like I told you, about 36.9 million of these MSMEs in Nigeria are micro enterprises. Remember, these micro enterprises, they don't have collateral. And collateral is one of the key issues for these banks to give them money. So for us as Smedan, since we have discovered that this is a challenge to Smedan, we try to tinker with our law to review our law. In fact, as at the 8th Assembly, our bill passed through the House of Reps, passed through the Senate, even went to the desk of the President. But somehow, the President didn't give assent for reasons he adduced. For some of the things that inside the law that is not very comfortable with. So it was not passed.
But is this still work in progress?
Yes, it's still work in progress. What we are trying to do now is to still attend to all those issues raised by the President and then get back to the 9th Assembly so that we will have a law that should be able to give us the power. And then one of the issues on that law that we're trying to amend is that we are proposing the establishment of what we call the National Enterprise Development Fund, which is entirely targeted at giving loans to small businesses, giving grants to small businesses, training for small businesses, giving advisory services, all manner of things, so that...
Will you also tie the release of the funds on collateral?
No.
Because if you talk about collateral, for instance, a young school leaver who does not want to wait for government white-collar job, has the zeal, has the drive to start a business, and now you tell him we need collateral. He doesn't have the collateral. How will he start the business?
Yes, there are ways to go around the collateral thing. I don't blame the bank because they are dealing with depositors' funds, so they need to obey the law by lending with collateral. So I don't even blame them on that stuff. So,
but can the law be reviewed?
Well, it can be reviewed, but is the central bank law and all that. So they have to deal with that at that level. Okay. So it's not something I can say for now. But the only thing I can do is to advocate for that there should be amendment in that law so that small businesses should have access to these funds. Then for us, in the fund that we're talking about, the National Enterprise Development Fund, now, we have recognized that collateral is an issue. There are ways to go across that collateral issue. For instance, you can lend to small businesses that are formed into cooperative societies, into associations, so that each of these cooperators will be in a position to guarantee each other, so that if one does not pay back, another one will not have access to it. So everybody will be putting pressure on each other to pay back so that money will be available. So at that level, we might not be talking about collateral. So each of them will act as collateral to each other. So there's no physical collateral that we're talking about right now. Okay. Yes. So
now, you are like a father to these persons who are very expectant.
Yes.
They have the drive, but one or two reasons they are not able to take off, as much as government has opened the space for them.
Yes.
You have talked about how many million you have identified in your survey?
About 37 million, yes.
How available are these funds to you? Because as we speak, we still have a huge number who will tell you, I don't know what's happening. How will people get to know what you're doing? How do they get to you? How do they get to know your information? You have a website? Where are offices?
Yes, I must tell you the truth. We did the first national survey in 2010, followed it up with 2013, and then we just did one recently last year. But the figures have not been made public because we are still looking at collating the figures and finalizing. For that survey in 2013, to tell you the truth, because we also had to ask the respondents, have you heard about Smedan? Have you benefited from Smedan's activities and so on and so forth? Unfortunately, about 60 to 70% of them say they are not aware of Smedan. So which means there was a problem with our publicity issue and so on and so forth. So we realized that is a problem. So right now, we have brought up activities in terms of publicity in all the states of the Federation, radio, TV, jingles, and so on and so forth, to let people know exactly what we're doing. Because if you don't, no matter what you do, if people do not know what you're doing, they will say you're not doing nothing. So right now, we have a structure to go through all the states and local governments in the local languages to tell people what we are doing, who we are, how they can access our services, and so on and so forth. So we have taken care of that, and then it's ongoing right now. And then, of course, Smedan's activities is tied to the budget. So the new law wanted to pass, we also brought in strategy.
But as much as you're tied to the budget,
yeah.
Smedan right now is in the front burner of governance.
Yes.
It's not like before where you occupy the back seat.
That's it.
Smedan is one of the agencies government is using to rejig the economy.
Yes.
And try to touch mostly people in terms of inclusiveness who were excluded before. And the president has talked about that he will be more inclusive this time.
Yes.
So you're in the front burner.
Yes, we are. Definitely we are. What we're saying is this. Like I said, we are getting our funding from the budget 100%. And then, issues of government funding and so on and so forth, they will tell you there's no money and so on and so forth, that we should look for money outside the budget. That was also why we said we should rejig our law so that we could have access to money outside the budget, so that we'll be able to do more things than we're doing right now. Because if we don't do more things than we're doing right now, the impact will not be felt.
Okay.
So we need more money to be able to do what we need to do.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you have talked about decentralizing your visibility space so that people get to know what you're doing.
Yes.
What is that thing that will make me, for instance, or make an average Nigerian youth, a young man, a young woman, have that confidence, as much as hear about Smedan, and move to Smedan to find out what I can get or what I can do through Smedan? Because there has always been this lackluster attitude. Not one of those things. So what is that special thing you have put in place to really make those people, when they hear about Smedan, they run to Smedan?
Okay, let me just...
Is it a one-stop shop?
Yeah, let me just give you an example. When we discovered that issue of financing for small businesses is an issue, we kind of thought about things that will change that attitude, or to make sure that money becomes available for small businesses. We came up with 2 programs. One is called the Conditional Grant Scheme for Micro Enterprises, and the other one is One Local Government, One Product Program. Now, for this,
is it in progress?
Yes, it's still in progress.
People are benefiting from it.
Yes, let me give you some insights into the program.
Okay.
Now, the Conditional Grant Scheme for Micro Enterprises came up because we discovered that out of that 37 million, about 36.9 million, which is about roughly 99.8% of these MSMEs are entirely micro enterprises. So we said, what do we do to target this group? That's why the CGS came up. And then we started it 2 years ago as a pilot, because everything is dependent on the budget. So we went 2 years ago, we went to 6 states. That is one Pejo political zone. That is we have Ebonyi, Akwa Ibom, Benue, Oyo, Katsina, and Gombe. That's one Pejo political zone. And then we targeted total for that first pilot program, about 13,160 MSMEs. What did we do with them? We gave them capacity building training, because training is key. We gave them micro insurance. We registered their business with CAC. We gave them a grant of 50,000 naira each, and also followed up with open bank accounts for them, because we didn't give them cash. We had to open bank accounts for them.
Did you monitor this directly?
That's what I'm saying. I haven't finished. So we had to pay this money to their accounts, and then partner with the banks to ensure that, because if you leave them, they will just come and collect the money and go into thin air. But we partner with the banks and tell them, before they get this money, it must be to their business. So you're not just taking the money and then running away. And then we followed up with what we call BDS, which is part of also monitoring and evaluation, to ensure that once they get the money, they put it into their business. And then that's the way it runs. And then for the second phase, which we are still implementing now, we've gone to 4 states: Lagos, Sokoto, Bauchi, and Anambra State.
Do you monitor it directly?
Yes, monitor directly.
If I ask this question, one, we have had a trend in Nigeria where at the federal level, good intention by government, meant for the people, people-centered, but it is abused most times. Now, you go to a state that is dominant, maybe APGA, dominant APC, dominant PDP, dominant AA, name it. And at the state level, they politicize it. Have you monitored to this extent?
Yes, you know.
Because I imagine, for instance, how would I need money to start a business, and Smedan has facilitated it, and I get the money. If I'm serious about it, if I'm not just, because we have cases where people are just picked anyhow because they have political loyalty. Have you monitored to this extent?
Yes. From the concept note, we're saying it's only people who are in business, not political, apologies and so on. No people connected to government by political lineage and so on and so forth. People who are into one business or the other.
Okay.
So the selection process was clear. If you don't have any business, then you don't have any business with the program, because we wanted to target people who are really running business, so that once you put that money into that business, the impact will be felt very, very, very strongly. And then we monitor this program because we have offices in the 36 states of the Federation. Our staffs are there. So once we disburse these funds, they follow up, because they also at that level form into cooperative society, so that at that level, you should be able to, at the level of the cooperative society, be able to manage the funds collectively and individually to achieve what they need to achieve. Of course, for that CGS, we have done about a little over 20,000 entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And then compared to the number that is available now, 37 million, 20,000 is a drop in ocean. So what we're saying is this: if we have more money, we can do more. Okay. Because a lot of people...
So where is this money tied?
Oh my God. It's from the budget. It's from the budget.
Okay, seriously, yes. Let's come back home now.
Sorry, I didn't talk about the second one.
Okay,
the one local government, one product program, you know. It's also targeted at making sure that people have access to money and other resources. For instance, for the one local government, one product, is targeting organic clusters that have one thing to do with agro-allied products. You know, we also started about 2 years ago with pilot projects in about 5 centers: Katsina, Kilishi, FCT, cassava, Anambra, palm kernel, Oshun, sweet potato, and then one other step, but I've forgotten now. But what we intended to do was to train people.
Is it ongoing?
It's ongoing right now.
Any testimonies?
Yes, there are testimonies.
In terms of output?
Yes, there are testimonies, because there's a documentary on that which is available with our corporate affairs. So it's very, very, very clear. So what we give them capacity building, give them equipment, give them workspace, give them working capital. Of course, in this program, they need to pay back 70% and retain 30%. So 30% is a grant, while 70% is a loan. So people are using the funds the way it's supposed to be used, because in this program, we're partnering with microfinance banks. That's the banks we are using to disburse these funds and then to recover the funds and so on and so forth. So we are doing quite a lot within the limit of our resources right now. But so we need big money, like the United Nations said. We need big money for this small business so that we can expand their capacity to create more jobs.
Okay. As much as you're on a media space now,
yes,
to know, how regular do you interface with the media so that people get to know what you're doing? Besides the fact that you have told me you have decentralized your operations so that people get to know what you're doing. How regular? Because no matter the milestones you cover, if the media don't get to know, to let the people know about what you're doing. I was even expecting maybe you say you have collaboration with the National Orientation Agency. Do you?
Well, yes, we're partnering with them, you know. From time to time, we get to talk to them and so on and so forth. And then for the media presence, like I told you, because people say that they don't know about Smedan.
I've heard so much about Smedan.
They don't know what we're doing,
I don't get to know what Smedan is doing until
so
come now.
We had to come up with a strategy through the corporate affairs to make sure that we have presence in all the states.
Okay.
Whether local TV or national TV or radio, local radio or national radio, so that at any point in time, people will get to know what we're doing. For instance, this is the program I've talked about right now, CGS and all up. It's all over the news. Even there, about 2 weeks ago, when we signed a memorandum of understanding with microfinance banks who help us in disbursing these funds, it was all over the news, and so on and so forth.
What reassurance do you have for this class of persons who are supposed to be your major publics?
Yes,
so they don't lose hope.
I know. for MSMEs, for entrepreneurs. I know the environment is quite not the environment we want to have. The enabling environment is not what we want to have. There are challenges of infrastructure, there are challenges of finance, there are challenges of skills, and so on and so forth. But I want to tell entrepreneurs that no need to lose hope. There is nothing that comes that is good that comes easy. You need to persevere. Even if you have challenges, you need to persevere. Have that passion that you need to achieve what you want to achieve for yourself, for the economy, for the generation to come. So I'm assuring you that if you persevere, at the end of the day, you'll be happy for it, the economy will be happy for it, and then your family will also be good for it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have that passion for what you want to achieve. That is the challenge Ewans has given to all of you listening to him. There is hope. Hope is not lost. Thank you, Monday Ewans, for coming on Insight.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
I believe you had it insightful on this segment. Up next on Insight is the discussion segment. Don't go away.